Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yashoda Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, 1975 Mayapur, March. Sorry, this is starting in Vrindavan now. April 16, 1975. When Srila Prabhupada arrived to finally conduct the Krishna Balaram Mandir opening, he was pleasantly surprised to see that the three tall domes rising over the temple. The domes had been constructed entirely during the 8 months since his last visit. The 4-story international guest house had also been completely built during his absence. So Ravi had supervised workers on day and night shifts to get everything done on time. The tall central dome and 2 side domes, one over each altar, were magnificent. Their graceful form led the mind to higher thoughts and suggested an existence beyond the material world. The strength and beauty of the domes reminded one that beneath resided the deity of the Supreme Lord. A temple was to enlighten people, to remove their nescience, and the domes eloquently spoke of this purpose. They could be seen for miles, rising boldly above the landscape of Vrindavan, proclaiming the worship of Krishna and Balaram. Each dome was topped by a copper kailas consisting of 3 balls representing the lower, middle, and higher planets. And at the top, the eternal Sudarshan Chakra, the spinning wheel weapon of Lord Vishnu. The Sudarshan Chakra was Krishna himself, and just to see this glorious symbol atop the mandir made the devotees feel victorious and satisfied. Even the guests could not help but regard it with awe. Atop the Sudarshan chakras were copper victory flags. As Prabhupada toured the completed building, he continually looked up at the domes. Oh, as he said, the domes have come out very nice. What do you think? He turned to the devotees accompanying him. They are magnificent, said Hamsadutta. Yes, Prabhupada, said Amal Krishna Goswami. I think that Surabhi has done a nice job. Yes, Prabhupada smiled. Everyone is telling how nice Surabhi is doing. Prabhupada turned to Surabhi, who had gone with little sleep for weeks. But I can't say that. Only me. I am criticizing you, because that is my job. I have to always criticize the disciple. No less than 600 devotees from ISKCON centers around the world had come to Vrindavan as part of their annual Indian pilgrimage. The high point was to be the installation of the deities and the opening of the temple. Final preparations were going furiously, cleanups, decorations, cooking. Many important life members and guests had come and were staying in their private rooms in the 40-room guest house. Prabhupada's vision had finally come to pass. He had created probably the most beautiful and opulent temple in Vrindavan, certainly the one most alive with dynamic devotion and preaching spirit. And along with it, he had built one of the best local hotels for visitors with an eye for Krishna Bhakti. Touring the grounds, Prabhupada walked into the sunken courtyard, its marble floor clean and dazzling. This was no rented house in America, something built for another purpose. It was a temple, like the temples in Vaikuntha, described in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is heaven on earth, Prabhupada said. I think it surpasses all the temples in India. Prabhupada stood smiling before the tamam tree. Its venerable branches spread throughout one corner of the courtyard, and he recounted how there had been a discussion of cutting it down, and he had prevented it. Tamal trees are associated with the pastimes of Srimati Radharani and are very rare. In Vrindavan, there were perhaps only three, one here, one at Sevakunj, and one in the courtyard of the Radha Damodar temple. That the Tamal tree was growing so luxuriantly, Prabhupada said, indicated that the devotees were performing genuine bhakti. Convinced that the temple was actually ready, Prabhupada entered his residence, just between the temple and the guest house. Many details demanded his attention, and many visiting disciples were present. Thus, in Ramanreti, in a place where there was no temple, a pure devotee desired, let there be a temple, and seva, devotional service. And what had once been an empty lot was now a place of pilgrimage. Such is the power of the desires of the pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 2, Text number 6. So just do this myself. Tameva vidure madhukarim iva sumanasa upajigra grantim divija manujam mano nayana lada dugargati vihara vridanutna yavaloka susvara sharava yavaya manasindrina kusumayudasya vidadatim Vivaram nijam mukha vigalitam pritasava sahasavashanamudra madanda madukara nikharokaro dena drutapada vindhyasena valguspandana stana kalasha kavarabara rashanam divintat avalokanina vivrittavasarasya bhavato makaradvajasya vasham upanito Jadavat iti hovacha. Word for word. Tam
Tam
to her.
to her.
Eva.
Eva
Indeed.
indeed.
Agudure. Nearby. Madhukarim Eva. Like a honeybee.
Honeybee.
Sumanasa.
Sumanasa.
Beautiful flowers.
Beautiful flowers.
Upajugrantin. Smelling. Divija. Of those born in the heavenly planets.
Those born to heaven.
Manuja.
Manuja.
Of those born in human society.
Those born in human society.
Mana. Mind.
Man.
Nayana. For the eyes.
For the eyes.
Ahlada.
Ashwada.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Dugai.
Dugai.
Producing.
Producing.
Gati.
Gati.
By her movement.
By her movement.
Vihara.
Vihara.
By pastimes.
Pastimes.
Vrida.
Vrida.
By shyness. Vinaya. By humility.
Humility.
Avaloka.
Avaloka.
By glancing. Suswara Akshara. By her sweet voice.
By her sweet voice.
Avayavai. And by the limbs of the body.
By the limbs of the body.
Manasi.
Manasi.
In the mind.
In the mind.
Mrinan. Of men. Kusuma Ayudasya.
Kusuma.
Of Cupid. Who has a flower hour.
Who has a flower hour.
In his hand.
In his hand.
Vedadasim. Making. Vivara. Oral reception.
Oral reception.
Nijamuka.
Nijamuka.
From her own mouth. Vigalita.
Vigalita.
Pouring out.
Pouring out.
Amrita Asava.
Amrita.
Nectar like honey. Sahasa.
Sahasa.
In her smiling. Bhashana. And talking. Amada. By the pleasure. Mada Anda. Blinded by intoxication. Madhukara. Of bees. Nikara. By groups. Upavadena. Because of being surrounded. Druta. Hasty. Hasty. Pada. Or feet. Vinyasena. By standard stepping. Valgu. A little. Spandana. Moving. Stana. Breast. Kalasha. Like water pots. Kabara. Or her braids or hair. Bara. Weight. Rashanam. The belt upon his hips. Upon their hips. Divim. The goddess. Tat Avalokanena. Simply by seeing her. Vibrita. Avasarasya. Taking the opportunity of Bhagavatam, of the greatly powerful. Makaradvajasya, of Cupid. Vasham, under the control. Upanita, being brought in. Jagavat, as if stunned. Iti, thus. Ha, certainly. Uvacha, he said. Translation of Prabhupada by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada Ki Jai. Like a honeybee, that Sarah smelled the beautiful and attractive flowers. She could attract the minds and vision of both humans and demigods by her playful movements, her shyness and humility, her glances, the very pleasing sounds that poured from her mouth as she spoke, and the motion of her limbs. By all these qualities, she opened for Cupid, who bears an arrow of flowers, a path of oral reception into the minds of men. When she spoke, nectar seemed to flow from her mouth. As she breathed, the bees, mad for the taste of her breath, tried to hover about her beautiful lotus-like eyes. Disturbed by the bees, she tried to move hastily, but as she raised her feet to walk quickly, her hair, the belt on her hips and her breasts, which were like water jets, also moved in a way that made her extremely beautiful and attractive. Indeed, she seemed to be making a path for the entrance of Cupid, who is most powerful. Before the prince, completely subdued by seeing her, spoke to her, as follows. Report. How beautiful woman's movements and gestures, her hair and the structure of her breasts, hips, and other bodily features attract the minds not only of men but of demigods, also is very finely described in this statement. The words Dvija and Manuja specifically emphasize that the attraction of feminine gestures is powerful everywhere within this material world, both on this planet and in the higher planetary systems. It is said that the standard of living in higher planetary systems is thousands and thousands of times higher than the standard of living on this planet. Therefore, the beautiful bodily features of the women there are also thousands and thousands of times more attractive than the features of the women on earth. The Creator has constructed women in such a way that their beautiful voices and movements and the beautiful features of their hips, their breasts, and the other parts of their body attract the members of the opposite sex, both on Earth and on other planets, and awaken their lusty desires. When one is controlled by Cupid or the beauty of woman, he becomes stunned like matter, such as stone. Captivated by the material movements of women, he wants to remain in this material world. Thus, one's promotion to the spiritual world is checked simply by seeing the beautiful bodily structure and movements of women. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore warned all devotees to beware of the attraction of beautiful women and materialistic civilization. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even refused to see Prataparudra Maharaj because he was a very opulent person in the material world. Lord Chaitanya said in this connection, Nishkinchanasya Bhagavat Bhajanon Mukasya, those who are engaged in devotional service of the Lord because they are very serious about going back home, back to Godhead, should be very careful to avoid seeing the beautiful gestures of women and should also avoid seeing persons who are very rich. Nishkinchanasya Bhagavat Bhajanon Mukasya Paramparam Jigamishor Bhava Sagarasya Sandarshanam Vishayinam Atayushitam Cha Hanta Hanta Visha Bhakshanato Yasadu. Alas, for a person who is seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialist engaged in self-gratification or seeing a woman who is similarly interested is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 11:8. One who is serious about going back home, back to Godhead, should not contemplate the attractive features of women and the opulence of rich men. Such contemplation will check one's advancement in spiritual life. Once a devotee is fixed in Krishna consciousness, however, these attractions will not agitate his mind. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Nijat Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Katarakamulam Shri Guru Vaishnavamshcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajjana Amritam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Bhutamishcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopsya Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Bhavamami Hari Priya Vachakalpatarupasya Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patipanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripat Maham Vande Shri Guru Diyanatarana. By the mercy of spiritual master, a blind man can see the stars, lame man can cross the mountains, and dumb man can speak eloquently. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances and gifts to my spiritualist among Vishnu Padaya Krishna, Krishna Motivation Mati Raghunath Swami, Vishnu Padaya Krishna, Krishna Motivation Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitanamani Namaste, Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani, Niri Shesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshka. Translation again. Like a honeybee, that Apsara smelled the beautiful and attractive flowers. She could attract the minds and vision of both humans and demigods by her playful movements, her shyness and humility, her glances and very pleasing sounds that poured from her mouth as she spoke, and the motion of her limbs. By all these qualities, she opened for Cupid, who bears an arrow of flowers, and path of oral reception into the minds of men. When she spoke, nectar seemed to flow from her mouth. As she breathed, the bees, mad for the taste of her breath, tried to hover about her beautiful lotus-like eyes. Disturbed by the bees, she tried to move hastily, but as she raised her feet to walk quickly, her hair, the belt on her hips and her breasts, which were like water jets, also moved in a way that made her extremely beautiful and attractive. Indeed, she seemed to be making a path for the entrance of Cupid, who is most powerful. Therefore, the prince, completely subdued by seeing her, spoke to her as follows. So, in the spiritual world, the center point of attraction is Krishna, and that is what his name means. Krishna means all attractive. So whatever the eyes wants to see, what taste, smell, eyesight, hearing, sense of touch, everything is there meant to please Krishna and to connect with Krishna is the ultimate source of attraction for all senses, mind, and he is the most beautiful and attractive object of one's love. However, here in the material world, living entities who decided to be separate from Krishna, they come to this material world and their pure love for Krishna, desire to purely displease Krishna without motivation, without expecting anything in return, this very, very same feeling that becomes contaminated and transformed, and the object of attraction is no more Krishna, but this perverted reflection of Krishna's beauty in this material world. Become attracted to material energy, which is just a spark of Krishna's splendor. Anything that we see beautiful and attractive in this material world is Krishna describes is just a little spark, a shadow of the ultimate beauty and attraction that exists in the spiritual world. So here we become attracted by Cupid, we become attracted by temporary beauty of this material world. So the beauty of this world is there, however, it's just a small indication of what is the real thing. That's why we look at the shadow. Shadow gives a certain type of experience, but is very, very limited. In the shadow, you see there is a form, and there is shadow. It has some attractive thing, like if you are, and you have to provide a certain degree of pleasure, just like if you are in a hot day, when it's very, very hot and there is no wind, etc. If you go into the shadow of a tree, it's cool. It gives you a certain degree of relaxation. And so anything that is a counterpart of a real thing, it does give a certain degree of reflection and attraction, but it's nowhere near as the real thing. Just like when I was young, we used to go when I grew up in the Soviet Union, and when it became independent, my Lithuania, my country, became independent from Soviet Union. Then there's a various kind of nice things, or so-called nice things, came from the West, because everything was very, very simple in Russia. The fashion was almost the same, every year. You could barely get a variety, everything was just more or less the same. But then from the West came all this, kind of so-called attractive, fancy things, and big brands. Big brands came, but barely a few people could buy those big brands. So apart of big brands, also came things made in China. Of course, China, I think, is now progressed a lot and started to produce quite a reasonable quality things. But at that time, it was still kind of not such a great quality. And you could get for very, very cheap, like a tenth of the price in a market. You can get a tenth of the price of this original brand. Exactly the same brand made in China, which was like a very, very poor quality. It wasn't the same and not same thing. But if you didn't know anything else, all your life you were getting things made in Soviet Union, and now this Chinese thing came. Even it's very cheap, but it was the school brand. Still, it was something. It was kind of better than people had before. But the people who really knew the value of it, and you remember buying this kind of stuff, and just like in a month's time, it's kind of fall apart. Like a zip would fall out or whatever. It was like a very, very poor quality, but still it was kind of a cool thing to do because they had this big name. So here as well in this material world, there is this beauty is there, the attraction is there, and you can see this is Apsara. So this is like a heavenly lady, very, very attractive, various types of features and gestures and etc. And if you don't know like anything else and anything better, that is very captivating and very bewildering for conditioned soul. Of course, for women, men can be attractive, and for men, women, particularly in this verse, this analysis is given of that attraction that is there towards human form. And we can see that in the what is called civilized society, that attraction and that form is kind of covered and is protected because in civilized society those attractive features was more there just for the husband to connect with. It wasn't available for anybody else. And this is what it means to be. This is what is considered in Vedic literature high class, and even in a modern society is still there to some extent. If you see somebody of a caliber of princess or something like that, queen, princess, and that kind of thing, it's not that everything is available, for everyone. It's only kind of reserved for the prince. It's not meant, for anybody else to enjoy. In the modern world, it's become quite opposite, that everything is there and is not considered a culture in a Vedic system in a Vedic civilization and society. And some people may find it kind of some sort of restrictive or something. Why this is there. It doesn't seem to be like a fear. If that beauty is there, why it should be concealed. Why it shouldn't be available for everyone, and etc. etc. There are kind of various modern ideas about this, but the idea is that a modern, what is the goal of life? This is where the clash comes. The modern idea is just to enjoy your senses to the max, and enjoy whatever this material world is offering, whatever social experience, just enjoy that to the max. You can see this philosophy doesn't bear much fruit. It's not that people are becoming much happier with this idea. We can see it's quite opposite. People are suffering from uh, very serious addictions, which includes like sexual addiction, pornography addiction, and all that kind of thing that just gives some sort of stimulation, and people become so addicted, to whatever sensual thrill they get from this, and it creates a very serious kind of psychological problems. And in the Ayurveda, it says that this kind of things are very detrimental for mental actually development. There is a direct connection between retaining semen and intellectual, mental capacity. So according to Ayurveda and Vedic literature, even the modern, very widespread mental health issues, some contributing factor is coming from this addiction and overstimulation, sexual. So the Vedic system, the goal of life is not to enjoy the senses, is not to enjoy physically, even mentally, even intellectually. Is actually to attain the spiritual world. And this is how, when those priorities are different, then things manifest in the culture, and the activities of people and the values of people are completely different. If you have a certain goal, then the values become aligned around that goal. The goal is self-realization and actually developing love of Krishna and becoming free from this material infatuation. Then one can act and live and arrange one's life in such a way to attain that goal. So the whole idea of Krishna consciousness and the purification of one's existence is to transform that attraction. That attraction is not false, and that attraction is there in the identity. This original attraction of the soul for Krishna is there. It just becomes perverted and polluted by attraction to the material energy and various types of manifestations of the material energy. And the idea is then to transform that the same energy that we are attracted here in the material world. The idea is to transform that energy and become attracted to the beauty of Krishna. Just like we recite, everybody is attracted by Cupid, that becomes manifest in various ways, in terms of like a speaking and all different types of attractive features that invokes the presence of good and bewildered minds of conditioned soul. Then this very same Cupid that is so attractive in this material world that makes people even mad, and it's so in Kali Yuga, people are very attracted and bewildered and controlled by it and agitated. And, the whole civilization is the whole idea of current civilization is to become more and more agitated and increase the temperature. Prabhupada was saying, the idea of life is to decrease one's temperature, agitation, and mental disturbance. It's kind of happening the opposite way. everybody is attracted by Cupid in the most kind of gross forms. However, this very same Cupid is, and not just one Cupid, but it's described as millions of Cupids are attracted by the beauty of Krishna. And Krishna is so attractive. And as we recite every morning, or we sing every morning, but ideally we should be reciting as well this Brahma Samhita, that the beauty of Krishna, I worship Buddha, the primordial Lord, who is first progenitor, who is wearing the peacock feather in his hair, and who is attracting millions and millions of cupids. And so wonderful. And the hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis and gopis are attracted to him. So it's called as Madan Mohan. Madan means Cupid, and Mohan means attractor. So just like the Candidates are attracted by Cupid, hundreds and thousands and millions of Cupids are attracted by beauty of Krishna. It so much surpasses Krishna, unlimitedly surpasses any beauty of this material world, and we understand that whatever opulences in this material world as they are, whatever is beauty, etc., form, all those things are fully manifest in Krishna. And when one heart becomes transformed by chanting, by devotional service, and that attraction awakens towards Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, then and then becomes fixed in Krishna consciousness, which refers to platform of Nishta, when 75% of anarthas are destroyed in the heart. Those attractions at that point will not agitate the mind until we come to the platform of Nishta. There is this challenge, there is this struggle, because the attraction is still there, and we're trying to transform our attraction towards Krishna, His service, His beauty, and awaken and strengthen that attraction. So the purification of one's existence is very significant. And this deity, Madan Mohan, is very significant for an aspiring devotee. Madan Mohan is a worshipful deity of Sanatana Goswami, who is our Sambandha Acharya. Sambandha Acharya means we understand, who gives that understanding to us of Sambandha, which is how wonderful is Krishna, how soul has nothing to do with this material body, which is temporary, and how the goal of life is to awaken that attraction to Krishna and serve Him eternally, and take part in His passions, in His lila. So even in this material world, when people want something special, they give up some lower things. If somebody wants to be wealthy, a lot of those people, they really perform a lot of austerities. They get up really early to get ahead of some other people who are still sleeping. They're already planning things. They're already strategizing how they're gonna make their life, how they're gonna make their business, and they restrain themselves to attain that higher goal. So in the same way, a devotee as well, he or she, they cultivate and they limit their attraction to this material world. They regulate the attraction to this material world, so that this ultimate attraction to Krishna awakens in the heart. And this is the essence of Sambandha Jnana, and it's very important, this deity for aspiring devotee, Madan Mohan, the attractor of Cupid, Krishna, in the form of attractor of Cupid, so that we cultivate, we pray to Krishna that we lose that attraction to material world and we become attracted to him more and more and more. So this hearing of the beauty of Krishna is important. Of course, the philosophy is important, but also hearing Krishna book, getting to know Krishna as a person and becoming attracted to him as the king of Vrindavan. It's very important. So that attraction to material things reduces and attraction to Krishna increases more and more. And that's the only way really how that attraction will become overcome. There is no other way because this is the very same energy that is perverted in this material world and it's so powerful. As we can see, the whole world is ticking, or running after this attraction. It's not possible to overcome it unless it is transformed to the original object of attraction, Krishna. So we need to pray to Madan Mohan. It's interesting that Radha in Govardhaniko village actually built, not personally, but obviously under his direction, he built Madan Mohan temple right practically there at the entrance into the village. It's an exact replica, even by the size of it, of the Madan Mohan temple in Vrindavan. And people come from all around the world there. It became a famous place, and the people who came across his teachings. So he built their Madan Mohan so bad, by the merits of Madan Mohan, that attraction to material world, that is culminating in this attraction to opposite sex, and even same sex, in the more recent time, that is becomes transformed, and to attraction to Krishna. What to do with this material beauty one has, some material attraction or beauty, what to do with it. And the Krishna consciousness also offers the solution. Of course, in the modern day, there is a lot of effort to artificially create a beauty. So something may look very beautiful, but actually may not be. It just has been kind of made to look like that, using various types of modern, beauty industry is multi-billion, where things may appear to be beautiful, but it's just kind of using the skillful arts. You could say that beauty is manifested, but the real, if there is some natural beauty that comes from karma, that means person being very pious in a previous life, and that also can be used in Krishna service. That attraction, when that attraction is there, it can be attract to souls to Krishna. People are naturally attracted to beautiful things. So you can say, here I am, but here is actually Krishna. Instead of pointing to one's own beauty, one can point to Krishna. This is the source of all beauty. So in that way, that can even help outreach, that one is directing the souls who are looking for temporary beauty, and we understand that this beauty is temporary because the age and time, it takes everything away. This very same beauty can be then used to direct to the ultimate source of beauty, Krishna. So are there any questions or comments on these points? interesting thing that is mentioned in the purport is how one can become stunned like a matter such as stone. So yeah, when is gets hit or by the arrow of Cupid, and there's a tendency of kind of becoming bewildered and losing one's common sense, and you can see people do like crazy things, or in one sense, they become like stupefied and do various types of crazy things, and there is some sort of and when people bewildered tend to spend a lot of time together, and in that short amount of time, they kind of tend to burn each other out in that very short amount of time. And there's even some scientific research says that this group of the infatuation lasts about 17 months or something. And it's an ideal world. Often it's much less than that, but generally speaking, it tends to expire. And during that time of when Cupid is there, there is this idealization of another person, and one thinks like he sees only good in another person, etc., and never sees any faults, and so on. But when that energy is finished, when the Cupid is gone, and then when kind of people tend to burn each other out, by spending this 24/7 together, etc., then all that attraction is gone, and often people become enemies after that. What was so-called love is completely gone, and people can't even look at each other. So this is what is called delusion, how Cupid works to bewilder conditioned souls.
You say something about like the power of the holy name and how it can have past and just against such powerful.
Yes, the power of the holy name is there to purify us in the stage, because it's not different from Krishna, as we discussed over last week. That attraction that is there in Krishna, we experience it in the beginning stages, on a stage of perfection. But when we start getting glimpses of the higher attraction that is there in the spiritual world, in the spiritual sense, by becoming attracted to the holy name, the glimpses that we get in relationship with chanting, kirtan, and that Krishna gives us those little glimpses of experience of Krishna consciousness, that's so attractive. It gives us the higher taste that we realize that there's higher things beyond anything what we ever experienced sensually in this material world, whatever allurements will be there. So we start to experience that in the holy name, in the connection with the holy name. When Krishna gives us these glimpses of the higher taste and glimpses of the higher beauty of Krishna, and also attraction to the deity. But the holy name obviously is the main practice in this Kali Yuga. And then as we chant, as we become purified more and more, that attraction to Krishna awakens more and more, and the heart has become purified, and the attraction to material things becomes reduced more and more. Haridas Thakur kind of exemplified this when the Maya personified came to him with attractive features, but he wasn't interested into that. He became, he just wanted to benefit this There was another occasion when prostitute came, and also when Maya came, and Maya personified came. So he just simply chanted the holy name, and both the ladies, they became purified and became devotees. Because Maya is already devotee, but she just was kind of testing and showing how powerful is a devotee. Of course, we're not on that platform ourselves, we are practicing, and that's why the importance of Mother Mohan is very significant for us. Because we read in the last sentence of Prabhupada that once a devotee is fixed in Krishna consciousness, however, these attractions will not agitate his mind. So basically, when Narta Nivritti, we are going through, and then Narta Nivritti, of course, this carries on up to very high platforms, but about 75% of our Narta is removed. One comes to this platform being fixed in Krishna consciousness, in mode of goodness, and then that attraction becomes subdued. Until that time, then one is, of course, practicing very sincerely and strongly Krishna consciousness, but and also tolerating whatever agitation or attraction may be there. Prabhupada called it this like what is called skin disease. There is you want to, when you have a skin disease, you want to scratch it, and you don't. Then it becomes cured. So you tolerate whatever the skin disease is there until that attraction becomes completely transformed and transferred to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram.